Okay, folks, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to take a look at the Tisas Stakeout that has been nickeled. This is their nickel Stakeout, and it is in a very cool caliber. The old 38 Super, the Super 38. This is a very, very cool offering. Another cool offering from Tisas. Guys, Tisas is doing really cool stuff, man. Thinking outside the box, adding calibers like 38 Super and all that other kind of stuff to their guns. I'm digging it. Super cool. And at the price points that these come in at, it's a no-brainer how cool these are. Now, not only is this gun in matte nickel, every part of it, by the way, is, we're going to take a look at it closer, but every part of it is matte nickel, and in 38 Super. It comes with a little bit of a surprise, and that is an extra barrel, which is in, here we go, 9mm Luger, and a 9mm Luger magazine. So, if you don't know, 38 Super is basically like a long 9mm, but it is semi-rimmed. So it takes a different barrel and different magazine. So obviously 38 Super barrel is in the gun, and there's your 38 Super magazine, which happens to be an Ed Browne, which is super cool. So let's just take a look at the gun. Man, I dig the vibes on this gun, man. The matte nickel, the darker double diamond wood grips, which, by the way, if you know grip screws, nickel too. So this is a completely nickeled out gun, which I dig. One of the other things I dig is no markings. Look at this gun. This gun is completely devoid of any branding, markings. The only markings it has is the Tisas, Knoxville, Tennessee, and the serial number. And underneath here it says, I don't know if you can see it, Zig M1 Turkey. Other than that, there are no markings, birds, brandings, logos, none of that stuff. And I dig that. I really do dig that. Standard, a little bit better than standard GI sights. They're a little bit higher, thicker, stronger. These are more like a Springfield Armory mil spec sights as opposed to GI. They are serrated. Let's look at the rear sight there, and let's pull up the front sight. Both, is it coming through? Yeah, there we go. It was there for a second. They're both serrated on there. Commander style hammer, beaver tail, standard thumb safety. Okay, standard mag release. This is basically a standard frame, nothing special about it. It does have the A1 cutouts right here. It does have the long trigger. There is no undercut trigger guard. There's no front strap checkering. There's only vertical lines on the arched mainspring housing, which is pretty cool. I think every other 1911 I own has a flat mainspring housing. I just like them better, although this one is not bad at all. I don't mind it at all. Standard controls and all that other kind of jazz. Beaver tail grip safety is fantastic. The tension on this, there's like no rattling. You'll get bigger companies, they will rattle, and then when you push it in, it just feels like mush, like it just flops in. Tisas is known for that. I wish you guys could feel that. It is fantastic. Right side of the gun, as discussed before, serial number right here. Ejection port is lowered and flared, but is not relieved in the front. Standard bushing on this gun. You know, they even went so far as to nickel the extractor and ejector, which normally a lot of companies will not do that. They will leave those black due to heating issues. Now, I don't know if this applies to nickel. I know it applies to chrome because my friends and I have experienced it. Years ago, they would they would chrome all the parts on a lot of these competition guns we would shoot. And the chroming process, if you overheat it, if it's too hot, it'll make these parts brittle and they will break. And that's speaking from experience. So a lot of companies, you'll notice if it's a stainless gun, a nickel gun, or a chromed gun, these will still be black. But I guess maybe they figured it out. They nickeled these too. If you'll notice, the firing pin is kind of a weird color, kind of a greenish, bluish color. That's because it's titanium. Tisas uses titanium firing pins in their Series 70, which is what this is, basically like a Colt Series 70, there is no firing pin block. And that's for a drop safety. If this pistol is dropped on its face, on the muzzle, there's a chance that inertia will carry a standard firing pin forward, hitting the primer with enough force to set the cartridge off. This prevents it because the firing pin is so light that it actually takes the hammer falling to strike the firing pin and for the firing pin to hit the primer and set it off. Yeah, this is another great release from Tisas, assuming that it shoots and it's reliable. We don't know that yet. We're going to get the first shots out of this gun in the range portion of this review. I did take this apart and clean it after I filmed the unboxing short, and I noticed a few things on here. Like example, like look at the machining marks on the inside of the slide right there. So that's a little bit rough. I don't like to see that. Will it affect the pistol in functioning and all that? I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive it won't. It's just kind of, it's obviously like chatter machining marks that shouldn't be there. That should be smooth in there. And I did notice see the scratches right there. Now, when I get a Colt and it's got issues like that, I will call them out. I'll call out any brand that does this. I have one Tisas, the Bantam carry, that has some severe machining swirls in it, and I pointed it out. So I noticed that when I got it out of the box. Again, this gun has not been fired, so there's 2 scratches there, or that might even be like a machining issue too. There's the machining marks inside, the chatter marks inside of the slide there. And I don't know if we could pick it up. I think we probably can. I know I'm seeing it. I don't know if the camera, there, kind of right there. So there seems to be a shiny rub spot in the finish right there. I don't know if that's from, I can get it better than that. It's noticeable. There we go. It's kind of, if I'm moving it around, there you go. You can kind of see it right there. So there is a mark in the finish there that it kind of almost looks like a shiny spot, but it's only been sitting in the case because, like I said, I took it home, filmed an unboxing, took this apart, cleaned it, and now I'm filming the full tabletop review. So, and I noticed that when I was cleaning, I was like, what the heck is that? And it's also right there on the frame. So it kind of goes right there and right there, which, yeah, I don't know. But it looks like something had been rubbing, and it will not wipe off with a cloth, you know, when I was cleaning it. Something was rubbing on those 2 spots to make them kind of shiny. You can see there. Ramped barrel. This is a ramped barrel, and so is the 9mm. It has to be because they cut a groove in the frame to fit the ramp barrel. So I'm glad, I am really glad that it has a ramped barrel. That is fantastic. So by all accounts, this is another great offering from Tisas. And a lot of the other companies aren't doing this type of stuff, man. Let's put a full-size 1911 Stakeout, you know, GI Commander hammer, beaver tail, and the rest GI controls, and let's nickel that bad boy and send it, make it in 38 Super and send it with a 9 barrel. How cool is that? All for about $570. That, to me, that's an insane value, assuming that it shoots, and I have not had any problems with any of my other Tisas handguns firing. So I'm expecting great things out of this one too, but we shall see on the range portion. Couple things I'm not too jazzed about. You saw already the rub right here in the finish and right there on the frame. The obvious machining marks. Let me open this sucker. Inside the barrel right there and right there. Okay, those are kind of a bummer. And the thumb safety. If you're familiar with my channel, you know the thumb safety on a 1911 is my pet peeve, and there is downward play in the thumb safety. That bothers me. I am all out of Wilson Combat. This one's pretty good, but I'm also out of Wilson Combat Plunger tube springs, I got to order some more because that's getting one, because while this is positive, it's not really positive enough for me, and that right there just irritates me. It's not the worst I've seen, but it is too much play. Now, for those people that don't know, does it affect reliability, safety, and that other stuff? No, it's fully functional, fully safe, and completely reliable. It's just a sign of poor fitment. The safety should stop right there, like that, and you should not be able to push down at all. You might be able to allow that much movement. That would be perfectly fine. This much, way too much. Way too much. For me, again, it's still fully functional. It doesn't affect the reliability, the safety, or the function of the firearm in any way. So there's that. It's just, to me, it shows signs of poor fitting. Let's do the standard checks I do real quick. Does the thumb safety work? Yep. It sure does. Does the grip safety work? Yep. How much engagement? That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Does it work? Yep. So this is what you want. At least this is what I want. That's about 20 to 30%. Meaning all you have to do is engage the grip safety about 20 to 30% before the pistol is ready to fire. That to me is fantastic. Let's push up on the hammer, push it forward. That means there is positive sear engagement between the sear and the hammer hooks. And let's press down on the barrel, checking for lockup. And now there's no movement in there. That you want no movement up and down play. That way there's consistent lockup with the pistol so you can have consistent accuracy when you shoot it. Let's get a weight and a trigger pull, and then let's get it out to the range and see how it shoots. All right, the pistol with the 38 Super barrel in it and the factory supplied 38 Super Ed Browne mag, 39.59 ounces. I'm not going to measure the 9mm barrel and magazine because it's probably right about the same. All right, trigger pull. Let's check out the trigger pull on here. I'm guessing it's somewhere around 4 pounds. It's pretty darn good. I'll give you that. It's pretty darn good because it breaks pretty clean. So let's try that again. All right, let's see what we can get. 310, all right. 426, okay. And 372. So if we average that out, that might be high threes, mid to high threes, 375, somewhere around there. That's pretty darn good. That is pretty darn good. So let's see how the trigger, so there's just just the slightest amount of take up, and then it breaks. No movement. If you notice, there is no little tiny bit of take up, and then it breaks. Absolutely no movement. That is a great trigger. I do want to point out though, there is a little bit side to side play in the trigger and the up and down movement on the trigger. Now, that's one of the things that custom 1911s will give you. You will get no custom 1911 makers will make sure there's no side to side or up and down play in the trigger. And you know, production guns, you'll get that. So let's stop talking. Let's get this sucker out to the range and just see how it shoots. All right, so as you can see, we are back out on the range for the live fire portion of this review. These are the first shots out of this gun, and we're gonna do it with the 38 Super first. So I got 9 rounds of 38 Super in the Ed Browne mag. We got the 38 Super barrel in. We got our C-Zone steel and our 10-inch round plate at about 23 yards, somewhere around there. And again, first shots, we're just gonna see how it shoots. So far, so good. right, folks, so we have switched barrels and calibers. So as you can see, we have 9mm, got the 9mm barrel in the gun, and these are going to be the first shots of 9mm out of the gun. As you previously saw, worked flawless so far with the 38 Super. So let's just see if the 9mm works. Accuracy portion, we have the Tisas Stakeout, still got the 9mm barrel in. I got the 115 grain Winchester. I'm gonna go back 7 yards and fire 3 shots. Let's do this one. I'll fire 3 shots of 9 at this one. I'll pause the camera, go switch out, put the 38 Super barrel in, and we'll come back and I'll shoot 38 Super at the top. So let's just see how the 9mm shoots. All right, folks, so as you can see, the 9mm shoots pretty good. Now we got the 38 Super barrel in there. We have 3 rounds of 130 grain 38 Super, same deal. Gonna go back 7 yards, shoot at that top shoot and see. Let's just see how she shoots. All right, folks, not bad, not bad. I felt like I pulled that one because as you can see, those 2 shots are touching and they're a little bit more center, but that could be a true group too. But I felt like I didn't get a good trigger pull on that one, but that's still a good group. I'm not going to argue with that. And we see a little bit of a shift, maybe low left, just a little, but let's go back and get the final thoughts. Final thoughts on the Tisas Stakeout nickel with the 38 Super and the 9mm. I think it's fantastic. I really do. I think Tisas makes some great products, especially for the price point. Is it a Dan Wesson? No. Is it a freaking, you know, Les Baer, Ed Browne, insert custom high-end maker, insert even middle of the road maker? Is it that gun? No. That's not what they're going for. But I think they do cool stuff. I think they innovate a lot more than other companies. And by the way, I bought this gun. Okay, I buy all my guns. The channel's not monetized. I said that before. But for the people who are new here and the people in the back that don't listen, I am not sponsored by any brand, manufacturer. I wish I would get a few sponsors and stuff. It would help relieve some of the costs that I pay for ammunition and all that other kind of stuff. But I don't. So I have to pay for it myself. And I thought this was super cool, especially in the 2 calibers. I was really concerned about the 38 Super because I'm a fan of 38 Super 1911s. I love them. I'm up to 3 now. And the 9mm barrel was just a bonus for me. It'll probably rarely get shot in 9mm, although as we saw in the video, it worked perfect with both calibers. Shoots pretty darn close to each other too, which is cool. Totally reliable, absolutely accurate enough for self-defense use. And I think it is just awesome. Guys, is this something you think is cool? Is the nickel thing too pimpy for you? Is it not pimped enough? Would you like it like mirror polished nickel? That would be kind of cool. That'd be super pimp. But other than that, dude, I am totally happy with this thing. Obviously, minus this safety issue, which is a fitment issue. Again, I'll reiterate it. It does not affect the functionality of the gun, the safety of the gun. The gun is perfectly serviceable with that safety, but I kind of don't dig it because, as I talked about in my service special, I was taught to shoot with my thumb on top of the safety. 2 reasons. 1, it helps control recoil a little bit. Not like a gas pedal way out here that kids like to use nowadays. It helps control recoil a little bit. That's 1. And 2, I have seen new shooters shoot 1911s like this, and under recoil, they flip the safety on. They're like, and the gun won't work. If you keep your thumb on top of the safety at all times, you can't do that. So that's the reason. So when I push it and it mushes down, it's just kind of annoying to me. So that's a small issue. And then, of course, the machining inside. But as I predicted, it did not affect the functionality and the accuracy at all. But it is kind of boo-boo. It should not be there. I will agree that that should be cleaned up inside. Some people will argue you don't see inside the gun, sure, but that's still obviously machining chatter marks and stuff right there, and right up here too. But on those small issues, I think it's a great offering from Tisas. I think they did another great job, and I totally dig it. So thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time.